in a phone service.
It's dependable. It's perfect.
No nickels and dimes like the phone company.
Get Vonage for only $9.95 per month for the first 3 months. Enjoy clear digital phone sound quality using your high-speed internet connection.
Okay, but making a change is hard. And for over 100 years, the only thing we've changed is...
Your prices?
Whoa!
Call 1-800-908-1042 or go online to startvonage.com.
Be right back.
Okay. Greg Jennings. Nice Fantasy Hall of Fame jacket.
I know.
12 touchdowns in only your second year.
I am pretty awesome. What you need to do is find this year's Greg Jennings.
I will. Can I?
Sure.
Oh, that's soft.
Who's this year's Greg Jennings? Find out first at ESPN. The best experts, best features, best game. All for free at ESPN.com.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Montreal on ESPN2, Saturday at 2:30 Eastern.
Welcome back to the best of Mike and Mike in the Morning, right here on ESPN2.
Let's bring in Sal Paolantonio, who spent a few days at Packers camp before they came to camp and continues going around covering all the different training camps. Let me see here. I've got... This is the Mike McCarthy you're telling me I should play? Okay, as we bring Sal in, here's Mike McCarthy, the coach of the Packers, with his latest take on Favre.
We've had a hell of a summer. It's been great. So, ESPN has been awesome. Never watched so much of it in my life, but
thank you for that.
Yeah, just little props there for you. I'm trying to get you off my butt here, Sal. But,
that was Mike McCarthy trying to get Sal Paolantonio away from Green Bay Packers camp. Sal, how are you this morning?
Pretty good. I'm making out new cards. My new ESPN card is going to say, pain in the tuchus.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No one wants to know Sal Paolantonio has shown up and brought luggage. That always means you got a real problem. But anyway, help us with this. What in the world has gone on there? I mean, the thing has got to come to an end today or tomorrow, mercifully. Not come to an end, but at least something has got to happen to move it in some direction. But in the interim, it just feels like there has to be more to this story than we know. What can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you this, that in the last 24 hours, it has become extremely frustrating for the Packers front office. They don't know what to do. All doors are closing. They have reached out to just about every NFL team that would be in the market for a quarterback except the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears, and they're trying to get some kind of, compensation for Favre that would make sense and not make them look silly. And right now, they're reaching the bottom of the barrel. The discussions are now at third round, fourth round, and fifth round picks in that area, and they're getting pretty desperate. They're getting pretty desperate, and they know, as everybody is saying, that it's getting down to the wire. I thought there was a very interesting quote that came out of the locker room yesterday, because yesterday was the first time that players talked after the first practice of training camp. It came from tackle Mark Tauscher, and he was talking about Aaron Rodgers, and it was a very, very telling quote. He said, it all comes down to how he performs. If he performs well, this is all going to be an afterthought. Wow. That is, that is pretty interesting, because the next sentence really that's not there is, if he performs poorly, this is not going to be good for us. This is going to reflect bad on this organization. And if Brett Favre is standing there waiting in the wings, it's going to completely undermine Aaron Rodgers' ability to become the starting quarterback of the team. So, I mean, clearly there's an undercurrent of concern among the Packers players that Rodgers, if he can't hack it, they're going to have a big problem here, and it's going to reflect poorly on the coach and the general manager.
I tell you, there's always pressure following, a legendary player, coach, in this case, Aaron Rodgers following Brett Favre. But then you add in what's going on now that Brett Favre wants to come back and play, and he has been told he would be a backup, at least that's how he would come in. It's got to put even more pressure on Aaron Rodgers. Let me ask you this, Sal, and Greeny asked this question before.
Yeah.
there had to be something that happened because there has not been a meaningful snap since the championship game for the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers has never started a game in his life for the Green Bay Packers, yet he is as in stone as a starting quarterback as Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are with their respective teams, where Brett Favre will be nothing but a backup, have some role on the team. We've heard all different kind of descriptions. How in so few months has it come to this point? Was there something a straw that broke the camel's back?
Well, if you read some of the pieces that are coming out of Green Bay's reporters, their beat reporters in the last couple of days, and if you listen carefully to what Mike McCarthy told me on Saturday at his opening press conference, Mike, it's very clear that there has been damage done to their relationship that is irreparable. And the damage that has been done, I think, was the Greta Van Susteren interview in which Brett Favre basically said he couldn't trust Ted Thompson on, the Randy Moss situation, not interviewing Steve Mariucci when he hired Mike McCarthy. So here you have, and then this retirement situation. So here you have your star player calling the general manager a liar, not necessarily agreeing with the hiring of the head coach, and saying this whole situation, the way it's been handled, he can't trust anybody in the organization. And then, on top of that, over the weekend, you have Brett Favre doing 2 interviews, one with Peter King and one with Chris Mortensen. And in both of those interviews, he relays private conversations that he had with Ted Thompson over the weekend. And I think that irked them. And I think, more than anything, what has been said has damaged the relationship. They set a course. At the beginning of setting that course, they were already tired of being jerked around for 3 years. Not 1 year, not 2, 3 years. Then they go down to the owners' meetings, and they meet with Brett Favre, and they say, okay, you know what, you want to come back? We're going to get a charter plane, and we're going to bring you back, and everything is going to be forgiven. And then he says at the last minute, at the 11th hour, I don't want to come back. So, again, they believe they're being jerked around. They formulate a plan, stick to it with Aaron Rodgers, and now all of a sudden he's telling them on July 11th that he wants his outright release from the team, which is what they always thought he wanted from the beginning, that he didn't want to come back. So there's a lot of I'm answering your question. There's a lot of mistrust on both sides.
Who knows where in the world this thing is going to go? I'll ask you one last question, Sal, and it is purely self-interest. If I asked you to assess the chances that Brett Favre will be the quarterback of the New York Jets this season, how would you do so?
Not bloody likely.
I didn't like the laugh, and I don't like the imitation based on the Monty Python there. So you got nothing for me, right?
I got nothing for you right now.
No, this does not sound good.
I just think the compensation that the Jets and the Bucks are talking about, if Ted Thompson gives away Brett Favre for a 5th-round pick and Aaron Rodgers falls on his face,
oh boy,
it's bad. But I mean, if he's there, they got to do something with him. John Clayton was so dismissive of it. We had him on live at SportsCenter last night from Green Bay, and he was. He knows it's me interviewing him. And on SportsCenter, we're not going to get into the whole Greeny is a Jet fan thing because it's not the time or place. But I could see the little smirk on his face as he was very dismissive. He was like, well, Brett doesn't want to go to the Jets, so Tampa Bay remains the best option. I mean, he was just so dismissive.
Yeah. What I believe is if Brett Favre happens to be awake this morning in Mississippi working on the back 40, getting an early start on the tractor.
Right.
That this would force him to report.
Yeah, well, reporting to the Packers is the best way for him to wind up on the Jets, I'll tell you that.
Oh, maybe he won't report.
The Jets have only one way of getting him, and that is they need to make an offer that the Packers cannot refuse.
Right.
They need to offer the Packers a conditional number 1 based upon playing time and how long he plays. And then I think Ted Thompson and the Packers can look Brett Favre in the face and can look Roger Goodell in the face and anyone else and say, listen, this is overwhelmingly the best offer we have. No one can tell us, in the interest of competitive fairness, that we should not make this deal. And then it will be up to Brett. Do you want to play? Because if you do, the Jets are your only option.
Right.
Or do you want to retire? And I think that's the only way he winds up on the Jets. Because otherwise, why would he go there? Why would he put himself in New England's division?
I completely agree. And again, I say it's right now it's in Brett's hands. If Brett wants to play, the soft deadline was was thought to be today. So if nothing is done by the end of business today on the Packers side of it, and we have sound from their GM, Ted Thompson, that we'll get into and such, if a deal's not done, Brett has to report. You know, Brett is going to need at some point to force this issue, or this is what's going to go on every day, which is a whole lot of nothing. You know, just moving forward, hearing quotes of people trying to say Brett's name but not really saying Brett's name and how he might fit on this team or that team. He needs a report. That forces the issue. So we'll see if Brett kind of holds to that soft deadline, which was today.
Thanks for watching. And remember, join us for another edition of the Best of Mike and Mike in the Morning tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN2.